Deep within the prosperous and beautiful kingdom of Eldoria, a magnificent castle named Aurelin rose towards the sky. This was the home of the wise King Alden and his three beloved daughters, Princess Elara, Princess Sylvie, and Princess Maren. Each princess possessed a unique and wonderful gift. Elara, the eldest, was known for her bravery and thoughtful nature. She always considered her actions carefully and led with a steady hand. Sylvie, the middle sister, was endlessly curious and remarkably clever. Her mind was a treasure trove of knowledge, always seeking new things to learn and understand. And then there was Maren, the youngest. Her heart was filled with a gentle kindness that charmed everyone she met, and she shared a special unspoken bond with all the creatures of the land. One glorious morning, bathed in golden sunlight, the king granted his daughters permission to ride their horses in the royal meadows, a vast expanse of green that lay just beyond the castle's protective walls. Their laughter echoed through the courtyards as they prepared for their adventure, their long hair braided and adorned with colorful ribbons. With two trusted attendants by their side, they set off, their spirits high and their hearts full of joy. The meadows were breathtaking, a vibrant tapestry of wildflowers under a brilliant blue sky. They galloped freely, the wind whipping through their hair, feeling the thrill of freedom. Their ride eventually brought them near the edge of the ancient Viridian Forest, a dense and mysterious wood that bordered the kingdom. As they slowed their horses, Sylvie's sharp eyes caught a shimmer of delicate white flowers nestled among the trees. Blossoms she had only ever seen in illustrations within her leather-bound books. "Look," she exclaimed, her voice filled with pure excitement. "Moonless blossoms, I can't believe it." Her attendants, ever cautious, quickly warned them not to wander far from the open meadow. The forest, they reminded them, could be treacherous and confusing. But Sylvie's enthusiasm was like a spark, igniting the curiosity in her sisters. Elara, ever the practical one, reasoned that a short walk into the woods wouldn't cause any harm. "We'll only go a short distance," she promised the attendants, just long enough for Sylvie to collect a few. Maren, who was a little hesitant about the forest's deep shadows, trusted her older sisters completely and agreed to come along. They dismounted, carefully tying their horses to a low-hanging branch at the forest's edge, and stepped together under the thick, leafy canopy. As they ventured deeper, a profound silence settled around them. The cheerful sounds of the meadow faded, replaced by the soft rustle of leaves and the distant call of an unseen bird. The air grew cool and smelled of damp earth and ancient trees. Sylvie was delighted, carefully gathering the rare, moonless blossoms into a small bouquet. Maren, feeling a little anxious in the growing quiet, began to hum a soft, calming melody to herself. Elara, meanwhile, remained on high alert, her eyes scanning their surroundings, committing the path to memory. After what felt like a short while, Elara paused and glanced around, a frown creasing her brow. The trees here looked different, taller and more twisted. The path they had followed seemed to have vanished, swallowed up by a carpet of thick green moss and fallen leaves. A knot of unease tightened in her stomach. "We should go back now," she said, her voice firm and decisive. They turned to retrace their steps, but to their dismay, every direction looked exactly the same. They were surrounded by a bewildering maze of towering oaks, gnarled roots, and shifting shadows that danced in the filtered, dim light. Maren's hand flew to Elara's arm, her knuckles white. Sylvie's earlier confidence began to waver, her eyes wide with a dawning fear. "We're lost," Sylvie whispered, the words barely audible. The forest, once a place of wonder, now felt menacing and vast. Seeing the panic rising in her sisters' faces, Elara took a deep, steadying breath. She remembered her father's words, a lesson he had taught them many times. "Father taught us that fear clouds judgment," she said, her voice clear and strong, cutting through the heavy silence. "We will not panic. We will find our way. We'll look for the direction of the sunlight and listen for the sound of the river." With renewed purpose, they began to move cautiously through the woods. Elara led the way, using broken twigs to mark the trees they passed, creating a trail so they wouldn't circle back on themselves. Hours seemed to stretch on, though the sun remained a faint, glowing orb hidden behind the dense leaves overhead. The forest wasn't entirely empty. Curious birds flitted between the high branches, and squirrels with twitching noses watched them from their perches on ancient limbs. The princesses held on to one another, their shared determination a silent promise to stay together. Just as their hope began to fade, a new sound reached their ears, a faint, gentle trickling. Maren stopped, her head tilted. "Listen," she whispered, "a stream." Hope surged through them, lighting up their tired eyes. They eagerly followed the sound, pushing through ferns and underbrush until they reached a narrow stream that cut a clear path through the forest floor. The water was cool and clear, sparkling as it flowed over smooth stones. Elara immediately recalled another of her father's lessons. "Fresh water almost always flows downhill," she explained. "If we follow it, it might lead us to a larger river or even to one of the hunting trails our rangers use." So they walked beside the stream, its gentle murmuring, a comforting companion in the quiet woods. As they continued, a strange thing happened. The forest around them seemed to soften, its shadows less menacing. The light filtering through the trees grew warmer. It was then that Maren's unique gift revealed itself. A beautiful, soft-eyed deer emerged from the trees, its movements graceful and unafraid. Instead of fleeing from them, the creature approached Maren without hesitation. It gently nuzzled her outstretched hand, its large, dark eyes full of a strange intelligence. Then the deer turned and trotted a short distance ahead, pausing to glance back at them as if urging them to follow. Maren's face lit up with a gentle smile. "I think she knows the way," she said softly, her voice filled with a quiet certainty. Trusting in the youngest sister's connection to the wild, Elara and Sylvie agreed. They followed the deer, their new guide leading them confidently through the winding forest. The deer's path was sure and steady, and soon the trees began to thin. Patches of bright, golden afternoon sunlight broke through the canopy, warming their faces. In the distance, a sound drifted through the air, not the sound of the forest, but of human voices calling their names. It was the search party. Moments later, the three princesses emerged from the tree line, blinking in the bright light of the meadow where their worried horses were still patiently waiting. The royal attendants and rangers rushed toward them, their faces a mixture of overwhelming relief and joy. The journey back to Castle Aurelin was a triumphant one. When they arrived, King Alden was waiting at the grand entrance. He swept his daughters into a tight embrace, his eyes filled with tears of relief. He held them close, his heart overflowing with gratitude for their safe return. That evening, as they recounted their adventure, the king listened intently. Instead of scolding them for their disobedience, he looked upon them with immense pride. He praised Elara for her leadership and clear thinking, Sylvie for her knowledge that had sparked their journey, and Maren for her gentle spirit that had guided them home. He commended their cooperation, their courage in the face of fear, and their ability to rely on each other's strengths. From that day forward, the three princesses of Eldoria were known not just for their beauty and royal grace, but for their remarkable wisdom, their unbreakable unity, and the quiet bravery they had discovered together in the heart of the forest. Thank you so much for joining me for this wonderful story. I hope it brought a little bit of magic to your day. If you enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more tales of adventure and courage. We'll see you next time.